Today we're making the ultimate beef rendang. Rendang is an Indonesian dish of soft, tender beef slow cooked in a flavor bomb explosion of a coconut stew. There's a reason why this was voted the best food in the world. Now I'm going to be breaking down all the steps so you can also make a foolproof pot at home. It seems hard, but it's really easy, so just trust me on this, and yep, let's do this. Let's talk beef first. The best cut would be the cheapest cut. Now this would be the chuck portion. It is what I have here. Another option that you can try is short ribs, or you can just ask the butcher for a cut that's for stews. With the beef, I'm cutting mine up into cubes just like this. It doesn't really matter the size, it's all up to you. Some people even like to throw in huge chunks of beef in their rendangs. We'll be needing a bruised lemongrass, so remove the top portion of the lemongrass and bruise the bottom part. I'm using a pestle here to knock on the lemongrass to release all of those flavors. You can also just use the back of the knife or the handle. So this is what I mean when I say I want a bruised lemongrass, okay? Let's get some blending done with the rempah base paste. First, you'll need some dried chilies. Rehydrate the dried chilies in boiling water and then cut it up and remove some of the seeds. Alternatively, you can also just use dried chili paste if you have that ready on hand. To a blender, add the dried chilies, onion, garlic, ginger chopped into smaller pieces for easier blending. This is galangal or blue ginger, also chop it up for easier blending. Now this is fresh turmeric. You can also use turmeric powder if you can't find the fresh ones, but the fresh ones are really good for this. Coriander seeds, fennel and cumin. You can toast these to release the aroma even more. And finally, some water to get an easier blend. You don't have to add water if you have a very good blender, okay? And then simply go and get all of this blended up. So this is what you should get, and you are done with your rempah base paste. Okay, let's get to cooking. You really want to use a heavy base pot for this, or a Dutch oven would be best. Add some oil first and let that heat up. Once it's hot, add the blended spice paste. Now add in cinnamon, star anise, some cloves, and cardamoms. Give all of that a nice saute for about 5 minutes or so, or until it's fragrant, and then we add in our bruised lemongrass, as well as our cut up beef pieces. Stir the beef with all of the rempah base paste, and we're going to let the beef sweat here. Basically what that means is that we want to drain out the liquid from the beef and let all of that liquid evaporate. Once the liquid has evaporated, you can see how it's a lot more sort of pasty. At this stage, add in the kaffir lime leaves. Now you want to make sure you tear up the leaves to release the flavors before tossing it into the pot. This is tamarind paste for a very slight hint of sourness to just balance out all of the flavors. And now one of the key ingredients of rendang, lots of coconut milk. Stir all of that in and then turn up the heat. We're trying to get it to boil. Once the mixture comes to a bubbling boil, season it with some salt. And sugar. This is palm sugar or coconut sugar. This really adds a mellow sweetness and it goes amazingly well with the coconut milk. Alternatively, you can also use brown sugar or you can, just use regular sugar, it's fine. Finally, the single most important ingredient for rendang. This is kerisik or a toasted coconut butter. Now this is what gives rendang that signature nutty texture and flavor. Without this, it's just not rendang. Give all of that a nice good stir and then lower the heat to a minimum. Like really turn it all the way down. You want the smallest heat possible, okay? And then cover the pot with a lid and we are leaving this to stew for 2 hours. That's right, 2 hours. At the minimum 1 hour, but 2 hours would be perfection to really get a good caramelization and to get the beef all nice and soft and tender. And this is what it looks like at the first 30-minute mark. You can already see a more brown dish. Every 30 minutes, you want to come back to your pot to check on it and stir through the rendang. This is to get an even mix, especially at the base where there would be some caramelization happening already. And also since we really do not want to burn the spices. At the 1 hour mark, and this is what our rendang is looking like. Look at how brown it has gotten. You can see how the coconut milk has reduced drastically and how brown the rendang has gotten from the caramelization of the coconut milk. Now, I did not need to, but if you have especially tough meat or you find that it's drying up a bit too soon, you can add more water at this stage. This will give the beef more liquid to stew in, so it softens easier. So feel free to add a cup of water or two right about this stage. About 20 to 30 minutes before the end, you want to keep a closer eye and stir your rendang more often. A lot of the liquid would have reduced, so there's just more chances of burning. So you just want to come back and give it more stirs more often. And we've now arrived at the 2 hour mark finally, and voila! Our gorgeous, beautifully dark, fully caramelized, reduced rendang is all done. The beef has become so soft and tender and is infused with so many complex and insane flavors. Long list of ingredients, long cooking time, but quite simple steps and totally worth it. So don't be intimidated and just give this rendang a go. If you want to try out an easier shortcut rendang recipe that takes just 30 minutes, then check out my chicken rendang recipe. I make it very often and have had no complaints at all, so go on now, go and check it out.